Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel. We're looking at a 1GDFTV and we are going to replace the injectors. This video may not be, well, it won't be, it certainly won't be the full detail video like what we do in the VIP group on the 1KDs, but it's going to have a bit of information there, probably a little bit vague here and there, just mainly letting you know some information about your consideration, you know, when you need to maybe replace them. A few things you need to think about, like how long are those injector seats going to last, and when you need to replace those, and whether you're just going to replace the seats under the injectors, whether you're going to just replace the squirters while you're in there. This has done a touch over 200,000 Ks, so it'll be an interesting bit of R&TU. You know, we're not, it's not R&D, we're not developing anything, but we like to have a bit of a sniff and see what's going on. So a lot easier to work on than the 1KDs. You don't have to get in the engine, valve cover doesn't need to come off, that sort of thing. We need to make a bit of access first. This one may get an inlet manifold clean as well, or EGR, or we need to have a look and see what's going on there and work out what needs to be done and if it needs, you know, what's worth doing. But one of the first things, we've got to get a few things out of the way, starting off with this bracket over the top of the engine, which he's working on at the moment. Get this wiring loom. We'll probably leave the wiring loom there again because it's a lot of work to get out of the way. We'll have a look at that. That's a possibility, because personally I like to get the wiring loom out of the way, but it's not really, you know, you can just pull a few clamps like that and just flex things and work around it. You just got to kind of get comfortable with it and imagine it's not there, but not a massive job, as you can see, opening things up to show a bit of access, you know, some plugs, fuel return lines there, some bit of a supply line. You're gonna have to, this is a single use only gasket here that will need to be replaced on the end of this pipe over here. Same as these, all single use only on the return line. At this end you can see it's a clamp, a couple of bolts. So it's a pretty straightforward job. So we're not going to show you the whole job in the video, we're just going to get on with it, but we're going to include some more information. Most of, I suppose, what the video is going to be is showing you what the injectors look like when they're out, where the O-rings are, and the oil gallery situation. We don't know how long these seats under the injectors are going to last, but we'll show you what the condition of these ones are like at this amount of kilometres, and later in the video I'll have the more accurate kilometres for you. Like I said, it's about 200 odd thousand. Yeah, subscribe, turn the bell on so you don't miss out all these updates in the next videos, and if you like what you're seeing, it's helping you understand the vehicles and learning. The other thing we'll do, we'll replace the map filter. It's hiding down there somewhere. There it is in the middle of the picture. That is the exact same part number as the 1KD FTV. So if you've got a 1GD, that filter, it's still going to block up like any other filter, and it's worth replacing periodically. I'd probably say, you know, every sort of 3 or 4 years, same as the 1KD. But what we'll do, part of the R&TU, we will have a look at that. We may even cut it open, check the condition, and show you that in this or another video. These injector plugs, they're a little bit harder to unplug than if you've been working on 1KDs. So we've got a couple of extra set of hands on the job just to try and get the thing to release. Anyway, they're a little bit difficult to get in there, so we're going to keep, it won't only take a minute, but don't think they're just press and pull. You know, always make sure you've released whatever plug you're disconnecting. It's just really hard to get onto the end of that plug, isn't it? Just to get that little, right on the end, anyway. Fiddling around, get an extra set of hands. And I'm going to release both the tabs and give it a bit of a wiggle, and once you get it back past where it's locked in, you're in business. There it is. Man, unplugging job, eh? Unbelievable. What we're going to do now, we're going to follow all the wires. You know, we've got this one's already disconnected. We'll disconnect these two. There's only a few more plugs here. We'll get all that disconnected, so then we can get this whole wiring loom. We'll just carefully bring it around here out of the way. Okay, so this video is going to make it look like this job's really easy, right? All the plugs at this side are off. You can see the whole wiring loom's loose now. One thing that hasn't been done yet, which we always do on the 150s, is removing that shroud at the bottom of the windscreen. It's only going to take sort of 30 seconds. Well, in the video it's going to take 30 seconds anyway. That's what I'm saying. Just because this is a short video, well, I don't know how short it's going to be. It's going to have a bit of information in it. It's not the big long maximum VIP information type one, even though it might only be in the VIPs initially, because who knows when all these videos will get released. So if you want them all, you need to get in the VIP, and who knows what might come out at a later date. But got to get that plastic out of the way, and then We'll bring this wiring loom gently around out of the way so we can get these injectors out. Just another quick note, do you notice with the 1GD, a positive is, besides everything's there, easy to access, much better design. This is a way better design than the 1KD. This is a big positive. Doesn't really change the results much, but it just makes it easier to work on. And when if you decide you're going to replace just the seats on the injectors in case they're about to leak, the design, it's not the nozzle seals that are angled down that fill up with dirt and sand type thing that are about to go in the injector situation. See, it's nice and, you know, it's just sitting there flat. You can open this. There's no pooling or collection of dust or dirt or debris. Well, there may be a little bit, but it's not going to be a collection inside that union nut, you know, like there is in those nozzle seals. So much better design. You've got much better chance that you could get this off and get them away from the injector. And then obviously I've got a little system the way I clean the inlet of the injector there so that nothing's getting in there. And that is, once you get the injector out, you give it a flick so any fuel in the injector flicks out that way, so then it shoots any debris that could have got in anywhere near that area. It kind of washes it out, if you know what I mean. So there's another little tech tip, something we do. But yeah, much better design here at all those pipes, that the contamination isn't going to get to the injectors completing a job like this. But in this case, because they've done over 200,000, we're replacing the squirters anyway. Right now, so we've got it all clear of the wiring loom. So we're back to basics, if you like. First thing we obviously need to replace is the line over this side to the 5th injector. Then the return line, which is up on top, running across to the top of each of the injectors. And then the injector clamps, and believe it or not, bada bing, they'll be out. It's easy as that. But mistakes can be still made, so wait till you see the full detail videos in the VIP group, which aren't even there yet, because this is the first or second or third very small bits of information we're providing on 1GDs at the moment. Alright, we're doing a bit of reverse engineering here, right? We're removing the fuel return line. The torque specification is supposed to be 10 Newton meters on that 10mm bolt, but what we're doing before we release those, we released a couple manually, and we believe that they're about 10 is about right. Now we've got the null bar on there set on 9 Newton meters. Let's see what happens if it should just click straight over without moving, but let's see. Yep, alright, let's change it to 10. And see what happens. And we're going to keep going up, and it doesn't mean it's going to be 100% accurate because the bolt isn't moving and it's been sitting in position for a while, all that sort of thing, but we're going to do it anyway because we've got nothing to lose, because these are single. I reckon that moved just a fraction, yeah, so pretty much bang on 10. Let's go 11. When you hear that creaking sound, that's the bolt moving on the washer. So we're going to go 1 more Newton meter. It's not going to damage anything, whatever. These, see, it just sort of, it's right on. So factory's 10, factory spec is 10, we're going to use 10, and we've even confirmed that it's right, because, you know, sometimes, you know, there's some weird things going on. So we're going to get continue and get these get the return line off. Quite obviously now we've got the return line out of the way. We're doing a bit of reverse engineering on the fuel pipe torque, same as what we did with the return line. We'll let you know what the results are at the end. Okay, so we've done a bit of mucking around reverse engineering and confirmed the torque setting from the pipe to the injector is 40 Newton meters. And now we're going to do the same at the other end of the pipe to the common rail. A bit of reverse engineering, we'll let you know the results. Okay, so from our reverse engineering R&TU, we believe the correct torque and a workable torque setting, 40 Newton meters at the injectors and at the common rail, is what we'll be using with new pipes. If you're reusing them, I might suggest probably a couple of Newton meters extra, but that's another story, more information later. With these pipes, it's time to take note. Number 1 and 2 are the same, that's the 2 in the picture there, and number 3 and 4 are also the same. We're not going to loosen the common rail that goes to the pump, which is the one in the middle of the common rail over that side there. So remember that. You can see there's 5 pipes there. The one in the middle that goes down about the middle of the picture now, don't touch that one. And note that the rear injector number 4 goes to the rear of the common rail, and the front injector number 1 goes to the front of the common rail, and number 2 injector actually goes to the second one back, what would be number 3. So just remember that configuration, and you can use this video for how your pipes are meant to be. We're going to remove the pipes. Bit of mucking around getting these pipes off. There's a few different tools required, and we've got a multitude of colours of different coloured condoms. I mean caps for the common rail. Our caps are condoms, you know, same thing. Cover it up, keep it clean. Alright, next is we're going to do a bit of reverse engineering on these injector clamp bolts, and we'll let you know what the outcome of that is as well. Probably going to be around the 20 mark, but we'll see. Alright, now this is an interesting one on our reverse engineering so far. The paperwork, the Toyota workshop manual documents say 21 Newton meters on these clamp bolts. Okay, but with our reverse engineering, we've come up with closer to about 30, more like about 28. So, knowing the 1KD is 22, I would imagine that either side of that could be correct, which leaves 21 as it could be correct. But in my opinion, with some other information, the thicker seating washers, which we may see later in this video, I believe that more could be the go. But we need to see these injectors before we decide, so we're going to muck around a little bit more. We're going to get them out, and we'll make a final decision on what works best. See this surface rust on the clamps? The positive of the 1KD is all the bolts and the threads, they're all oiled in a perfect environment. There's a possibility from washing the engine that some moisture has got down these threads, and that's caused a bit of issues with why we're getting a different... It looks pretty good. We'll have a closer look at it over on the bench. Just a quick analysis. You know, as I said, these clamps are open to the environment as the washers and the bolts are. And I'm not sure there's going to be a lot stopping some of the moisture. This isn't going to be a perfect seal, as you can see under the heads of these bolts, right? It's going to stop a lot of the moisture, but when the engine gets wet or washed down, some of what, and this is, you know, it's only a vehicle that's a few years old, but see the threads here? You can see they're very dry, and it has been assembled dry, and this is what Toyota do, but I've got to say, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the threads look very dry, which is going to be difficult. You can see there's a slight bit of corrosion, just light corrosion on those. So the re-engineering, trying to, you know, backwards reverse engineer and work out what the torque setting is that way to confirm what our paperwork says, because we like to, you know, double, triple check things, is been very difficult to do. But make a note of that. You can see the condition at only, what is it, 3 or 4 years old, that rust on these injector clamps and what's going to happen with these bolts. So I think with the lubrication, we're going to stick to the paperwork factory specification, which says 21 Newton meters, but we'll have a feel of it and we'll let you know later in the video what we think. Bada bing. Alright, number 1 injector. Bit of a twisty pulley thing. The first 1GDFTV injector you've seen coming out on 4x4 diesel. Have a look at that. That's pretty awesome. I think that from what I've seen so far, these seats look like they're going to last forever. Over here we're looking down number 1 port, and you can see it hasn't been cleaned. That's how it is. That's how they come out. It's a complete redesigned setup to the 1KD. There's no oil gallery, there's no oil cooling for the injector or anything like that. So if those injector seats were to give way and start leaking, all you're going to have is a compression leak, like a misfire, as explained in other videos. So that's going to be your symptom. Compression blowing up there. What else are you going to notice? You know, you're not going to get any of that block door pickup business in this type design, so nothing to worry about as far as that goes. There's no need to check an oil pickup on a 1GD. It can't happen. Just do your regular oil changes. Right, we're going to clean this up, get the other injectors out, and bada bing. Alright, let's rip the other three out. A bit like removing a coil pack from a petrol engine. There's no oil involved, nice and clean. Give the ports, it's a quick clean of the ports in this case, a quick cleaner. They're already pretty clean, but a quick clean. A little bit more difficult, less room to work. So as already discussed previously in relation to the rust, the environment could be an issue with these injectors. The O-ring there is obviously not for any oil, there's no oil gallery there. Actually, I didn't think there was, but at one point I suspected there may be when I saw the O-ring there. But anyway, seeing is believing, guys. So you can see the rust on all four of those, particularly this is number 4 at the back. So given this is only a few years old, this vehicle does fairly high Ks. Imagine what that could be like at 10, 15 or 20 years. So worth considering here. I think we're going to put some grease anti-seize type product, not only on the O-ring, but coming up the injector. I think we're going to go all the way with this. We're going to do it, you know what, I think we're going to do a Berrima diesel, right? You know, and we're just going to go, I'd say it wouldn't hurt, to be quite honest, to put a very light coating of anything all the way up here to prevent rust. And we're going to obviously have a little bit more on the O-ring, particularly above the areas above the O-ring that's below that seal. So there's a seal that obviously, you know, they don't seal that well. So just beware of that. If you're washing your engine down, don't do it too often, because, you know, you need to do it for this sort of job, but don't do it too often, because the evidence here is that seal sits directly up here and the moisture is making it down to there. So it's making it down, it's even making it below the O-ring, right? So below the O-ring, you can see more than once, not just once, so it's not just coincidence, you can see it right there. So that O-ring set up there, it's going to need some more lubrication, some whatever it takes to help that sit in place and seal up, because we want the sealing of that to be better, and we don't want to see this anymore, right? So something to think about. Those with the 1GDs, you might want to pop your bonnet, pull your cover off. You might want to just spray some inox down around these areas to help reduce this issue, because in time that could end up being really stuck there quite badly. Anyway, hope you're enjoying the video so far. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on. The seating washers, look, these injectors, you can tell by the nozzles are running very clean, and see the thickness of the washers, they are different to the 1KDs, and so far what we've seen is, I think they're going to last. The durability of them, they're not off yet, so they're not off the injectors. We need to get them off the injector, but from what I'm seeing so far, the durability of these seats is a big improvement. So the engineers have certainly got some things right with the newer engine, even though it's a bit smaller and all that. You always talk about in videos how about, you know, down in here cleaning all this, all the dirt and rust, all the dirt sits there and it stays wet and all that sort of thing. Remember number 4 injector, how much it was a lot worse than all the others. See all the mess just sort of sitting around there? So this 1GD, it's not a 1KD, this 1GD, it's only about 4 years old. Was it 3 or 4 years old? It's a 17 or something, isn't it? 17. Built in 17, less than 4 years old, I'd like to say, pretty much, you know. By the time it gets here and gets into use and that sort of thing, and have a look at the amount of rust in less than 4 years, and it's a fairly clean engine bay. I'm not saying it doesn't get used. There's a bit of sand up there, so, you know, there's a bit of dirt, so it gets used, right? But just beware with the washing situation, because you can see what's happening, and that's what we do here. We show you reality of what's happening. So there's a lot of positives here, but there's a couple of negatives. And that is, yeah, those clamps and stuff are going to get really rusty. It's all put together dry. Ours are going to be well lubricated when we put them back together. So just giving the ports a quick blowout for an initial clean, right? You can see all the stuff loose sitting on top. You know, of course, covering all the holes and all that. We've just covered, blown, removed to have a look and see what the results are. Now it's going to be a matter of the usual type port cleaning, but there's not a lot to clean, as you can see. right down these ports. They're all very clean. It's just that seating washer area needs to be clean like new. And the other suggestion I'm going to make is, see the valve cover bolts that are in the middle there, on the middle of the picture, right? We're going to put a little bit of maybe some sort of grease, anti-rust coating on those as well to help stop those, because you can see in here it's there's been a bit of moisture pooling in there, and just it's going to get worse over time, you know. The 20-year thing, 25 years, 30 years, someone's going to thank us one day. Hopefully they will see this video and everyone does the same thing. Oh, look at these brand new clean injectors, aren't they beautiful? Oh my God, look at this one. What have you done to it? I actually love that. That was basically what I said. This is what I think we need to do to protect these babies from this, if you know what I mean. But on another subject, while he's doing that, let's do a little analysis of these seats. I've just knocked them loose. Right, there they are. I'm just going to take them off and set them neatly on the bench, and we'll have a closer look at them. But before we do, I suppose it's fair that we have a look at these ports. All the ports and everything's all been sealed up, and that's the molly coat. You know, we want the molly coat there. The molly coat on each side of those seals is going to help those seal up, and obviously maybe even help a little bit of durability with their life. The ports have all been cleaned up. It's all Mickey Mouse as far as all that goes. The only other thing that's still got to happen is a little bit of protection for those bolts on the top of the valve cover. Let's go and have a look at those seats. Okie dokie, here we go. Let's have a look at them. That's as they come off. So, whoops, I might have flipped that one the wrong way. No, it was I was going to say I had the injector side the right way. Thought I had it the wrong way for a minute. Anyway, let's just have a good look at these to compare. I've seen lots and lots of 1KD washers like this. I haven't seen lots and lots of these. So, but what I can see is, I've picked it on this one here, see it's starting to erode away on that inside at 3 o'clock. The top left one at 3 o'clock. See, it's hard. It's probably hard for you to see. Even the top right at 3 o'clock, a little bit eroding away. See on the inside you can see the copper. So you definitely know they're still copper. They've got a coating over them. They're a little bit thicker, maybe about 1 millimeter thick. I haven't measured them yet to tell you exactly. More information will be in more videos. So like I say, subscribe, turn the bell on so you don't miss out. This one, down the bottom at 6 o'clock, where it's eroding away. Now looking at these, my best guess was they look like they'd be right for a little while yet. Okay, I don't see, like I do on the old type seats under the 1KD injectors, I'm not seeing, oh yeah, it was going to go soon. But then this has done 200,000 Ks in about 4 years or less, so it's high Ks. So it's really comparable, to be quite honest, because you can get 200,000 Ks in 3 or 4 years out of a 1KD injector seat. So I don't know that this, we're going to need to see a lot more of these before I can give you, more accurate, absolute information. So anyway, just showing you these ones as we go. These babies are looking good. I know it doesn't look good, but it is good, if you know what I mean. It's either that or this, and the risk of them getting stuck in there. You tell me what you'd prefer. A bit of protection here for those bolt heads. All right, let's chuck them in. What are we waiting for? Now, what we found on the 1GDs, on this one here, right? So 4, 3, 2, 1. Number one, it could be any of them, and it's a similar issue that you can have with the 1KDs. And sometimes the variation in size of, in this case, we don't believe it's the injector nozzle, the cap nut, it's not that. We believe it's probably the variation in the machining of the head, and the port can be a little bit smaller. And the four previous, the old injectors came out no problem, but these ones going in, a couple of them were a little bit tight, and it's down the bottom where the cap nut makes contact in the head, and in particular number one was one that had a bit of resistance. So yeah, it's just a matter of gentle push and a twist, and usually it goes down, and the clamp will bring it the rest of the way with using a thread of a bolt. Very, very limited force, hardly makes any difference to the torque setting. Obviously that can vary from vehicle to vehicle, so you need to know what you're doing if you're doing one of these jobs, so you know if everything is happening normal or not. Smelling beautiful. So what we did with the clamps, we just gave them a bit of a clean up with some inox and just put a very light coating like sunscreen of the anti-seize over those. We're just slipping all the clamps and bolts back in place. Pretty straightforward sort of stuff. If you've been watching my videos, you've seen it all before. Next step, what we're going to do that's different to a 1KD is we don't use the valve cover or check the, you know, even though the Toyota book, we do things a little bit different to Toyota. With the 1KD, they wanted to fit and remove the pipes and all this to do the alignment. We've got other ways of doing it, which we demonstrated. Anyway, sort of similar here, and we're not tightening these up now. We're just taking them down till they make contact, okay? But we're gonna, with this one, we fit the fuel pipes, okay? Because they're up here, there's no need to fit and remove. So we fit the fuel pipes to make sure the alignment is Mickey Mouse, okay? Before we clamp down the injectors. Okay, so we're putting number 3 fuel pipe on first. It's a bit of a method in the madness type thing. 3 doesn't go to 3 though, so you've forgotten, wrong one, mate. 3 goes to 2, see, it's confusing, isn't it? Put that cap back on. Oh, this will be funny. Take off number 2 cap. 3 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3 type thing. So you've got number 3 pipe, but it goes back to the second, you'll see in a moment, right? Yeah, see? We're all a bit rusty on these ones. Like I said, we haven't seen a lot of 1GDs or anything like that. We're certainly not the experts. We just like sharing a bit of information. And as I've said, everything isn't here and we could be wrong, so don't rely on us. You can go and watch all the other YouTube videos. I've heard there's some pretty dodgy ones out there. They're on the tools with the spanners, zing, zang, in and out, real quick, slap, bang. That's how you want to treat your 60, 70, 80, $100,000 motor vehicle, isn't it? Totally stuff up the fuel injection system. So yeah, number 3 goes on first. That's number 3. As I already said, there's 2 and 2 of the pipes that are the same. All right. The next one is a different part number. It's number 2 fuel pipe, which the part number starts in 23701, and it crosses over to the other blue cap on the common rail over there. So grab the next one, we'll get that on, and then you can put on number 1 and number 4. It's pretty straightforward. So if you want, just sit it in place to work out which way you think it's going to go. See if you can remember. This will be a test, mate. Everybody's watching, mate. This is going to be on YouTube, mate. Everyone's watching. I reckon that's the way it goes. I reckon that looks pretty. Look, even if that's not the way, let's do it anyway. And then, you know, if we get it wrong, then everyone can say, oh, yeah, I did that too. So all these, we're going to get it all started and make sure the alignment's Mickey Mouse before we tighten up anything, because we can access everything. There's no reason why we wouldn't put as much as possible on. We're not going to put the return line on. We'll get all this torqued up before we put the return line on. There's no need for that, because that's not going to change. The position isn't going to change from the top of these injectors where the return line goes. And we use new fuel pipes. You know, we're spending the money. New injectors, new pipes. You don't muck around. Alright, happy days. There's 2 and 3, or 3 and 2. We're just going to get number 1 and 4 in place. Pretty boring stuff. You've seen it all before. And I think we already mentioned the torque specs earlier. And we'll get all the alignment right. Hit the 21s and the 40s, and we'll catch up with you then. Alright, so the injectors are in, the pipes are on, fuel return lines going back in place. Of course, those little gaskets, same as the 1KD, single use only. Those ones under that bolt that he's turning right there. Yep, single use only, little expensive suckers they are as well. So you need 4 of those. We're going to continue getting this back together. It's pretty much the opposite order of what it came, you know, as what it was disassembled. It's going to go together there. We believe they're 10 those 10 mils, 10 Newton meters on that fuel return line. You've got your little clamp at the other end there. Then you've got to put your fuel line, let's say the one with the yellow clip on it, just gently twist it around, reconnect it over here, and we believe that's about 36 Newton meters. Again, single use only gasket. I reckon that's about a video. It's been pretty long, giving you a fair bit of information here. My conclusion is, these injectors, they were in fairly good nick. It was more of a change of mez prevention. They've done a lot of Ks, over 200,000. The injector seat's probably not going to last forever. What we've learnt and shared with you from this one is, you know, these seats may possibly last longer than the others, but we don't know that because we haven't seen enough of them. Certainly you're not going to have the issue of the oil leaking down and the blow-by you know, the blocking the oil pickup sort of thing with these engines, so that's one positive. But one of the negatives is you may have seen the rust and stuff like that, which may mean if a lot of people have been using these off-road and washing them and stuff, it could be a lot of rust going down under these injectors and stuff. So it could be another reason that they need to come out for a bit of maintenance. Whether you're putting the same ones back in or not, or replacing the seats and whatever, that's up to you. But I'd suggest, yeah, eventually those seats are going to leak. You're going to have a compression issue, and possibly, you know, yeah, things could get stuck in there. Imagine a compression leak on top of rust and all that. That could get really, because compression's got moisture in it. So you've got moisture, you've got, yeah, it could get real messy. So maintenance, doesn't matter what engine it is, needs to be done, and we'll do more of these. And as we learn more from doing more of these, we'll share it in the videos. So like I say, subscribe, turn the bell on, and we'll show you the right information, the right way to do things. We've got the Toyota information here, and that is 10 Newton meters on that, 21 on the injectors, and 31 on the fuel pipes. It's not what we found necessarily, and it's not what we may end up doing. We may change to a slightly different procedure or torque specs, you know, depending how a few of these go, at what the findings are. And that's about it, guys. We're out of here. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button. Hanging out for the next video, eh? See ya.